one and all. Welcome back to another edition of the Average Guy's Guide to Life podcast. You know who I am. You know what this is, you bitch, you stinking little bitch. To be a kid again. To be a naive, innocent, blissfully ignorant child. Why do I say that, you may ask? Because children just don't give a fuck. Excuse me. Children just don't care. They don't fucking care. Like, you reach the age to where you actually start to give a shit about stuff, and then you lose a bit of your innocence because you're caring about things. For example, do you remember, my listeners, do you remember a time when you didn't care if you were dirty? Do you remember that? Let's just say you used to get a stain on your, if you wore a uniform going to your elementary school like I did, white polo shirt, blue slacks, you had about 5 pair for each day of the week. And let's just say you spilled something on your fucking uniform shirt, maybe some spaghetti or goddamn Kool-Aid. You had a big ass red stain on your uniform shirt. You didn't care. You didn't give a shit. It was just part of life. It's a stain. Whatever. It just shows what I did throughout my day. This stain is a mark of pride. It's a mark of experience. I've experienced things. I've experienced that Kool-Aid. It was delicious, and my shirt wanted some. It was so good, my shirt needed a taste. You didn't give a fuck. You just didn't give a fuck. So when was the age you started to realize, like, oh man, I don't want to get dirty? Like when you're a kid, you don't give a shit about being dirty. You play in dirt. When I was, I sound like I'm from the 1950s. I'm not. But when I was a kid, we used to just go in the park or vacant lots and play with sticks and throw rocks and shit. Get a stick and just start drawing in the dirt. You didn't care. You just go home filthy. No fucks given. No fucks given. But now we're all adults. We gotta buy detergent and shit, fabric softener. We gotta smell all nice. Oh, to be a kid again. Because kids don't give a fuck, man. And the reason I say that is because as we speak, right now, on this Monday, what is this? Monday, March 9th, 2020. As we speak, next door to me are some children that are playing basketball on their basketball hoop they have in the backyard. No big deal, right? No big deal. I mean, you're not going to get too dirty from shooting hoops outside. But it's currently raining. Like, it's raining pretty hard. It's a little more than a drizzle, but a little less than a pour. But it's raining. And these kids don't give a fuck. They just don't give a fuck. They're out there just shooting, ball all muddy. I don't give a fuck. I got to get this jump shot down. I remember I used to do the same fucking thing. I used to play basketball. Excuse me for being politically incorrect here, but we used to play basketball, me and my few friends. We used to play basketball with the dirty white boys. That's what we called them. The dirty white boys. And they were white. Like, they were white. They lacked any sort of pigment. So the dirt visibly showed up on their faces. Like, I have red cheeks and like a little splash of dirt on there as well. And we didn't give a fuck. We'd just be out there shooting jump shots, but the ball literally covered in mud. Didn't give a fuck. But now, I mean, you couldn't catch me dead doing that shit. Like, what the fuck? Hell no. I'm not gonna be tracking mud all up in my house. The fuck? I'm not gonna get these stains out. Like, why would I do this? I might make this a weekly thing. I think I should. Because childhood innocence is something I look back at with great nostalgia and joy. And I want to know if you guys feel the same thing. Because part of growing up is part of losing that innocence and losing that ability to not give a fuck. But I think a part of that is necessary to keep. You have to keep some of your childhood. You have to keep some of that not give a fuck in you. It might not be to the extent of allowing yourself to get covered in Kool-Aid and spaghetti stains. No. But, children also have other things that they're just blissfully ignorant to, that we as adults tiptoe around, that I don't think is completely necessary, and I don't think it benefits our life experience. We should be more like children in some ways. One way is being honest. Like, children don't have filters for the most part because they haven't been adapted to what's politically correct or appropriate in a social climate, in a social atmosphere. So if they see something, they say something. Like, if they're in a room with their mother and their father, and their father is telling something to their mom that they know to be bullshit, the child would say, "Ooh, daddy's lying." She don't know she ain't supposed to trick on her daddy. It could be something as small as, him telling his wife, "Oh, I had a salad for lunch," and she saw him have a motherfucking double quarter pounder with cheese. She don't know that she not supposed to tell that to the mama. She just say it. I'm just saying. Let me know if you guys think that I should make that a recurring thing. I don't know what I would call it. I don't know. Let me know. Any ideas? Any ideas would be helpful. I mentioned on the last episode that I would cover some XFL football, and I also said that I would be doing a Freaky Freaky Friday, and I lied about both. You have my deepest apologies. I didn't do either of those things. It's not because I didn't want to. The previous episode was kind of going over. I don't like to go into the hour range. I come to realize that the attention span of podcast listeners, that it ranges between half an hour and 3 hours. Anything in between there, people aren't going to want to listen, from my experience. So I try to keep it neat into, nothing more than 45 minutes or so. If I lead on into an hour, that's when I really got some shit to talk about. So I apologize for not mentioning XFL football. I haven't watched it as diligently as I would like over the past 4 or so weeks. I have watched, I say 75% of the season, I guess. And it's a good product. It's not a great product. It's not NFL quality by any means. But if you're craving football, it is slightly higher level than college football. And it's interesting. I like the game in itself. I'm not rooting for any team or anything like that. But it is football. And if you have that itch, if during the NFL off season, then I suggest you give it a watch, especially if you have slower weekends, you don't have anything planned, or you're having a lazy weekend. Just turn it on. You will not regret it. I mean, there's been some duds, don't get me wrong. There has been some dud games. Some games start off slow. You're not going to be used to the format. The format is going to be jarring at first when you watch it, especially the very aggressive interview format where they interview players immediately after they come off the field. I don't know if I agree with that or not. That's kind of weird, if you ask me. Hearing coaches call plays, that's going to be jarring as well, especially if you're not familiar with the language that coaches use, or you're not familiar with football and the chess match that's going on. It's different. It's a different product than the NFL, but it's similar in the right ways, if that makes any sense. So that's my brief endorsement for the XFL. I think it is a good product, not a great product. It is a watchable product though, so give it a shot. I do apologize about not doing that Freaky Freaky Friday following my previous episode when I said I would, but life got in the way, man. Life and shit. I'm an average guy. I got shit to do. Just like you got shit to do. So don't you sit there and wherever the fuck you are, in your chair or in your bed or on the toilet, judging me because I didn't keep a promise to you, okay? I don't owe you shit, listener. I don't owe you shit. No, I'm sorry. No, I do owe you shit. I owe you your Freaky Fridays, because that is, as far as I can tell, that is a popular segment. So I will be more consistent with those in the future. You will get one this week. I promise you that. I will not break this promise, okay? Cross my heart, hope to die, stick a dildo in my eye. All right? So, I didn't watch much sports this past weekend. I didn't watch the basketball games. The regular season of the NBA is coming to a close. They're on the back half of the season. I loosely keep up with the happenings of the NBA season. I don't really watch every game. Like, who can watch every fucking game? Especially if you're trying to follow the West Coast games. All the better teams are on the West Coast. Who's staying up to midnight to watch the finale of a Lakers Clippers game? Or Mavericks Clippers game? Like, who's doing that? I can't. I have a fucking life. But I do. I watch the headlines. I read the articles. I listen to sports radio less and less. I listen to less and less sports radio because that jargon is getting fucking repetitive and stupid. Like, how many times are you gonna fucking argue over Tom Brady? How many times are you gonna fucking argue in general? Why the fuck is sports argument radio a thing? You two are arguing opinions. You two or three or four or whatever the fuck your format is. You're arguing opinions that is not based in facts. They're just based in your take. And you're arguing it like it's the fucking Bible. Go fuck yourself. No one gives a shit. Can we just watch the games and discuss what happened? You know, what happened and what didn't happen. It's as simple as that. So I haven't watched the regular season in its entirety in several years, but I have watched the playoffs in its entirety the past several years. So when the playoffs start, I will be more attentive and I will be giving you more basketball coverage to tickle your little eardrums if that's what you crave. But for now, fuck it. I don't give a shit. I don't care who's winning MVP. Maybe LeBron, maybe Giannis. For my money, it's Giannis. The numbers mean more. He's playing with less talent. Whatever. That's my basketball take for the day. If you want more, go listen to them argue on ESPN. But I did watch the UFC pay-per-view over the weekend. If you've been listening to this podcast over the past few episodes, or several episodes, I should say, I am a fight fan. I love a good fight. I love a good beating. I love to watch people try to kill each other, decapitate one another. That's my shit. That's my jam. That's my jam. I'm a fucking barbarian. You know? I'm like one of those crazy fuckers just ripping off their clothes back in the gladiator days. You know? Pouring his ale all over his chest. Screaming for more blood. Throw him to the fucking lions. Shit like that. I love it. Put your life on the line. So I think it was UFC 248, I think. And the card as a whole, if I were to give it a letter grade, it would be a B plus pay-per-view. We didn't have that many household names, unless you're a hardcore MMA fan. We saw the return of Neil Magny back to form. Glad to see that. We saw the return of Sugar Sean O'Malley after a 2-year absence. Great prospect at bantamweight. Good to see that. He got swag. He got drip, as the kids would say. So I like Sugar Sean. I think he's an excellent prospect. But you know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the co-main and the main event. Those are the talking points around the sporting world, but I'm not going to give you too much sports heavy take on this because I think it's been said. Like everything's been said already. I'm recording this at the end of the sports day, towards the evening of this Monday. So everything that you wanted to hear, you probably already heard. I'm just going to reiterate that. Probably going to bore you. But I think it needs to be said for my fight fans out there. So let's start with the main event. The main event between Yoel Romero and Israel Adesanya was hyped to the fucking moon. And I personally was looking forward to this fight as much as I'm looking forward to any other fight on the calendar this year. As much as I was looking forward to Conor and Cowboy, as much as I'm looking forward to Khabib and Ferguson, as much as I'm looking forward to the John Jones and Dominic Reyes inevitable rematch, and the DC Stipe Miocic inevitable rematch, this was right up there with what I wanted to see. And they did their job. They hyped the fuck out of this fight. Just look at the promotion material. You know, the promo packages and the music to go along with it. You know, they're building a star in Israel Adesanya. They successfully built a monster in Yoel Romero, and he is literally a monster. So there's no denying that. So the hype for this card was through the fucking roof. For this fight, I should say. Through the fucking roof. But it didn't deliver. It just didn't deliver. It fell fucking flat. And in my opinion, as I'm going to say I'm an MMA expert. You can question that, but, you know, question it with integrity and let me know why you think I'm not an MMA expert. Ask me anything, and I'll give you an answer. But I'm going to call myself an MMA expert because I can dissect and just analyze fights differently than a casual fan. And in this fight, it was slow, and it was a chess match. And it, like, now that I've seen it in hindsight, that was to be expected because it's two counter strikers, but counter strikers in a different capacity. Israel Adesanya counter strikes for the purpose of setting up his opponents for his unorthodox and tactical striking, his extremely technical and precise striking. So he expects you to make a mistake. He's reading your aggression, and he reads it very quickly and very well. And he's always pivoting, always parrying, and always making adjustments during the fight to catch you. He can be aggressive when necessary, but for the most part, he is a technical, tactical counter striker. Very precise, very unorthodox, and he can mix it up like with anything you want to throw. Anything. Kicks, knees, elbows, spinning attacks, whatever. While Yoel Romero, he's also a counter striker, but of the power variety. He's like a snake, and I think I said this on my previous episode. He's like a snake that's coiled up, waiting for you to come into his habitat. Just waiting like a trap. He's like a trapdoor spider. He's sitting there, waiting for someone to come into his perimeter. He's waiting for you to be aggressive. Then all of a sudden, he explodes on you like a fucking bomb with all the force and all the power of a bomb. So in hindsight, this fight was exactly what it should have been. It was just two people waiting for each other to make the first move. Israel was waiting for Romero to be aggressive, while Yoel Romero did something extremely odd, while he at least does something. But in this fight, he literally did nothing. He just stood there. He stood there waiting for Adesanya to fall into his trap and fall into his basically his landmine. He's waiting for Israel Adesanya to step on that landmine so he can explode and decapitate him. But it never happened. Israel's too smart. He's too, well-rounded of a striker, and he knew that, oh, okay, this is what you're trying to do. So it ended up just being a, peekaboo match. Peekaboo. I'm going to look at you, you're going to look at me. But Israel, in my opinion, he won that fight because even though there weren't very many effective strikes landed, he did land the most effective strikes in the fight. The most visibly effective strikes, the leg kicks, where Yoel Romero's leg looked like fucking uncooked roast beef. It was a nasty, nasty visual. But in total, I can see why the fans, along with the promotion of the fight, would be disappointed, especially the casuals. I didn't mind it at all. Like, it could have been more exciting. It could have been more entertaining. But as far as the sport is concerned and the stakes of the sport, you're not fucking kicking a ball through a net. The stakes of the sport is you're putting your body on the line. You're gonna get knocked out if you make the wrong move. So it was a tactical approach from both ends. Israel had the better tactical approach to me. Yoel Romero, he should have been more aggressive. He should have disobeyed his initial strategy for every fight that he's been in. He should have just disobeyed that, throw out the fucking book, and just do something different. Be aggressive. Use your physicality. Go forward. Don't be afraid to blow your fucking tank out, because this is your shot at the championship. This is it. But he didn't do that, and they laid a fucking turd. So it is what it is. I'm still a fan of both fighters. I hope Yoel Romero doesn't retire anytime soon, even though he's a fucking 1,000 years old. He's a freak of nature. But I wish them both continued success. But the co-main event, that's what stole the show. Zhang Weili versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk stole the fucking show. And on paper, I knew that this fight could turn out to be that. I knew it could. Seeing both of their bodies of work and seeing that, they both had similar attributes. I was worried about Weili because she was giving up a little bit of reach, and Joanna is on paper a more decorated striker with her Muay Thai background and championships. I was worried about her being able to handle a tactical striking battle against Joanna, but Weili answered the fucking bell, and she answered it ferociously and vigorously. They were, to quote Joe Rogan during the fight, it was fucking rock'em sock'em robots. Joanna, in the first round, it looked like she was trying to be more tactical. She was inside, outside leg kicks, using her angles, pumping that jab out there, trying to do the hit and not get hit, But somehow Weili turned it into like a tactical dogfight. Like it was tactical, but it was a fucking brawl at the same time. They would just exchange and meet in the middle and throw bombs at each other throughout the entire fight. They would just disconnect, bounce around, then meet in the middle and throw like 7 punches, 1 kick each. It was like a fucking, the only thing I can compare it to, it was like a Super Saiyan battle. Like if you're familiar with Dragon Ball Z, you know the format. They fly around the sky, they bounce off each other, and every time they bounce off each other, they're throwing punches off each other, and then they disconnect, they disengage, and they fly back into each other and throw all those punches and kicks again, and they disconnect. And that's what it was like. It was like watching a real-life human Super Saiyan fight. And if you haven't seen this fight, go fucking watch it. It is one of the best fights in MMA history. Man or woman, I shit you not. It is probably in my top 5 fights. And that's saying a lot because I'm very, very picky. I don't play favoritism either. Some of my I wouldn't say hate it. Some fighters that I dislike are in the list of fights that are like all-time great fights. Right off the top of my head, no order. John Jones and Gustafsson, Robbie Lawler and Rory McDonald. Of course, Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner. You got Clay Guida and Diego Sanchez. You know, fucking Dan Henderson and uh Dan Henderson and you know who I'm talking about, right? The guy that knocked out Lyoto Machida. Fuck, I can't believe I'm blanking his name right now. There goes my MMA expert card. But yeah, those are the fights that I would say are, in no order, are some of the greatest fights in MMA history, and that's right up there with them. Right up there with them. Shogun Rua. Mauricio Shogun Rua. That's who it is. Dan Henderson versus Shogun Rua. Great fight. Even Chuck Liddell versus Vanderlei Silva. Great fight. So this is right up there with those. Great fight. So yeah, I mean the card as a whole. I mean the main event, that was a fucking D. That was a big fat D. But the average of the card, I think I would give it a B plus. Now to finish off this episode, I wanted to share with you guys something that has, I don't know, it's interesting to me. It might not be as interesting to you, but I think it will be. Something that has nothing to do with fighting, but it has everything to do with the human anatomy, which I guess some kind of has something to do with fighting. Like, you can be a big, strong Brock Lesnar type, right? You can be Vitor Belfort on TRT, just this big fucking gorilla of a man. Or you can be Chris Cyborg, this big fucking gorilla of a woman. You can be a physical specimen of a person. But one little thing could just fuck you up. One little thing. Something that you wouldn't think would fuck you up. Something that you wouldn't even realize, right? For us everyday folks out here, there's not, fucking zoo animals. We do things every day that we don't realize one little setback can fuck up our whole rotation, right? So let's just take this for example. Let's say you sprain your ankle. It's not broken. You didn't tear any tendons. But if you sprain your ankle, that fucks up your whole groove. You can't walk. You can't walk, and it's just a sprain, right? On the scale that I'm using here, that would be a substantial injury on the scale that I'm using. I'm talking even smaller than that. Even smaller than that. What about a finger, right? What if your job is typing? If you do clerical work, right? And you're typing all day, you fuck up one of those fingers, that fucks up your whole groove. You don't know. Maybe you get a cut on one. Maybe you break a finger. Fucks up your whole groove. What if you do labor and you fuck up one of your fingers, or you have to grip and lift things all the time? A small fucking finger can just fuck you up. I have had instances where I run into things that I didn't think would have the effect on me that it did. Okay, the first example of this is when I damn near cut my pinky finger off. And this is not an exaggeration. I literally almost cut my pinky finger off because I was trying to cut the cheese. No, that isn't a terrible 90s joke about flatulence. This is literally me trying to cut a frozen block of cheese with a hatchet, of all things. a fucking hatchet. If you don't know what a hatchet is, it's an axe for kids. It's just a tiny little toy axe. I mean, it's not a toy, it's definitely sharp, but it's a small axe. And it's used for cutting meat and shit like that. So I take a frozen block of cheese out the fridge because I'm trying to hurry up and portion something out for packing purposes. I'm about to head out and do something. And I swing once on the cheese and it wouldn't give. I swing twice on the cheese and it wouldn't give. I swing 3 times with 50% of my strength, and it goes right through the cheese, right on my fucking pinky. And it instantly starts just gushing blood. I apologize if you're squeamish, if I'm being too descriptive here, but it was just gushing blood all over the fucking cheese too. The cheese was no longer any good. So I didn't get the cheese, and I also had to get stitches for the first time in my life. And that pinky that I had wrapped up in like a mini cast for that couple of weeks, that just fucked up my whole rotation. I didn't realize how much my pinky was necessary, how much I actually used my pinky. But even that example is more intense than the example I'm going to give you right now about a bug. Just a fly or a mosquito, right? You know a mosquito can irritate you, it could bite you, make you itch, but that's not anything too intense. But what if one of those fuckers actually violates one of the cavities in your face? Like a fly, for example. What if a fly were to fly in your nose? I know in the summertime, a lot of people have had this happen to them where flies just fly right into your face, like disrespectful as fuck. They don't care. They just fly right in your face, fly in your mouth, fly in your nose, fly in your eyeball. They don't give a shit. It's irritating, right? But you imagine just fucking, get away from me, You imagine to shoo them off. But now imagine you're not able to do that. Imagine that a bug gets into a cavity while you're defenseless. You don't think it would have that big of an effect on you, right? Fucking wrong. Fucking wrong to the fucking maximum wrong. It will fuck you up. And I'm not talking about them crawling into your ear. That would more than likely, alert you. Or crawling into your eye. When I was 9 years old, I was sleeping in my bed peacefully. Me and my brothers, we used to sleep in the same bedroom from head to toe, right? What I mean from head to toe, there was 2 beds, there were 4 of us. I slept at my brother's feet towards his feet, and he used to sleep towards mine. Now, I'm sleeping peacefully. But all of a sudden, I hear static, like white noise static. So I get up and I look to see if the television is on. Because back then there wasn't any, HD TVs. We all used to have those bunny ear antennas. So I look up and the TV's off. Well, I'm like, okay, I lay down and I try to go back to sleep, but I still hear the static in my ear. So I think, okay, my 9-year-old brain, like, okay, is there another TV on somewhere? What the fuck's going on here? So I go into the other room. There's nothing on. All the lights are off. But while I am up walking around, that's when I realize, oh, the static is coming from inside of my ear. Like the static is still going. And not only is the sound, I can feel something moving in there. Something is alive in my fucking ear. And that's when I start freaking out. Because it is a feeling that, like, even me mentioning this now, it's not a pain, but it's almost a pain. And if you ever had anything irritate your eardrum, you know what I mean. Now just imagine something crawling around on your eardrum. So you have the sound of them crawling around, and you have the irritation and the semi-pain of them crawling around. So I'm screaming like a little bitch because I'm 9, whatever. So I'm screaming, and my brother wakes up, and he's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I'm like, in my ear. So long story short with this one, turns out that there was a roach, a fucking roach, crawling around in my fucking ear. It was a roach. And I had to get taken to the hospital at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Previous attempts to look in my ear with a flashlight obviously failed. Like they were going to see anything. The doctors didn't do that. My family did that. Thought they could just, look at it and dig it out. But, they saw my screams and pain, and they took me to the hospital. And they flushed my ear out with a... Is that my co-host coming? My co-host is making an appearance soon. There they are. Oh, they're aggressive today. Maybe they can relate to this story. But anyway, so I went to the doctor, and they couldn't see anything, obviously, because no one could. It was deep in there. So he flushed my ear out with this like water solution or whatever the fuck. And he dug. Yes, that's right. That's right. They dug the roach out after they drowned it to death. He dug it out with the longest fucking Q-tip I've ever seen in my life. He dug it out piece by piece, just digging in there. Take out a leg, take out a spine, just digging it out. Now, normally, that's right. That's right. You're very aggressive today, Mr. Train or Mrs. Train. Fuck. Okay, we get it. Anyway, now for any normal person, this will be the last time they would ever experience anything crawling in their ear. Most people, thankfully, don't have to experience anything crawling in their ear. Normal people don't have bugs crawling in their ears. But over a decade later, while I am sleeping, I fucking get the static in my ear again. And this time it was like maybe 6 o'clock in the morning. And the moment it happened, I instantly jumped up with my underwear on, no shirt, just boxers. And I knew exactly what it was. There was no screaming or asking for help or asking for someone to grab a flashlight at that time. I was like, fuck, I can't believe this happened to me again. I can't believe this happened to me again. I just couldn't believe it. So I'm running around the house like a madman. My family's like, oh my God, what's going on? I was like, it's a bug in my ear. It's a bug in my ear. They was like, how do you know? I was like, trust me, I know. There's a fucking bug in my ear. So I'm throwing on anything. I throw on some fucking flip-flops, throw some fucking pants on, put on a t-shirt, and I don't know where the fuck I'm going. I just run out the door. I shit you not. I have no idea where the nearest hospital is. I don't know where I'm going. All I know is I have to go. I gotta go. This shit gotta get out my ear. Like right now. So so mind you, it's still kind of half dark outside. The sun's just now coming up. People that work early morning jobs are just now going and starting their commute. And picture this crazy black guy halfway jogging down the street with pajama pants on, talking about shut up. Shut up, but screaming it. Like, shut up! Oh my God, shut up! What would you think? Just hearing some random person running down the street, shouting shut up, smacking themselves in the side of the head. And I did that all the way to the hospital. Like, I walked past a few people, thankfully. I walked past a few people and I asked them the direction of the nearest hospital. And thankfully, they were pointing me in the right direction. And I just ran all the way there. Well, most of the way there. I saw a bus coming. I didn't have any money on me. I didn't have any money. I just waved him down and hopped on the bus. I said, do you go near the hospital? He said, yes. I said, I have a bug in my ear. He said, okay. I'm like, yeah, for real. Like, I got a bug crawling around in my ear. And I'm still saying, shut up this whole time. Like, shut up. And I'm not talking to a person. He probably thought I was telling him to shut up. Like, looking at him dead in the ear, looking at him dead in the face. And I'm like, shut up. Fucking shut up. But I'm talking to the bug crawling in my ear. So, he got me close enough to the hospital and I ran the rest of the way. So this happened to me twice. A decade apart. A small bug fucked up a fully grown man. Made me throw on some clothes and run to the hospital in a panic. Small little bug. Small little fly. It was a fly this time. It wasn't a roach. I don't know if there's a lesson to this story. I don't even know if there's a fucking moral to this story. Maybe for just, you to laugh at my misery. I don't know. I just thought it was something interesting I thought I would tell you. And maybe you guys could tell me the stories that you have of something small, something not substantial according to, what we consider to be substantial, something relatively small, just fucking up your whole day or fucking up your whole groove or making you just completely helpless. Has that happened to you? Or is it just me? Am I the only one that got shit that want to fly in their ears? I don't know. Anyway, that's the episode. I went kind of long this one. I don't know. I just like talking to you guys. You bring me joy. You bring me fucking joy sometimes. The rest of you, I don't know. Your mom keep calling me for child support and shit. All right. Bye.